Alright, today we're gonna make a flying goose whirligig. Now, a friend of mine gave me some patterns a long time ago. These patterns are old, but there it is. Full-size patterns are nice to have. Let's go to the copier, copy this up. Sometimes you have to do it, fold it in two and make like 3 copies and glue them together or tape them together. And then I cut out my copies. Don't forget the wings down here. There she is. The goose is a really common whirligig. It's easy to make and lots of fun. It's kind of big. Looks good up on the barn or mailbox or fence. Once I got the pattern cut out, I glued it to a piece of super cheapo 1/4 inch plywood, just in case I wanted to make an extra one. Everyone should have a pair of goose, Canada goose, flying over the house. So here's another cutout I did, and I drilled the eye hole out. One, because I can mark it, and it also makes it nice to hang up on the wall with all my patterns. I have patterns for various of my favorite whirligigs up there. And also, I marked out the primary colors with the brown and the white, and the eye and the bill is yellow. The goose has a little white patch on its throat. After I cut out some of the wings, I had some leftover scrap, so I just varnished this. It's great for a pattern. The body of this one I made from an old, I think it's an old 2x6, and it's probably white pine, yellow pines, kind of knotty. So you'll need a piece of wood for the body. The materials you use are going to depend on, what. If you want this to sit outside year round and just blow in the wind, you want to use something a little more heavy duty. Poplar is a great wood to use if you can get yourself a hold of that. It's a little expensive if you buy it at Lowe's or something, but poplar is real popular. Poplar is popular. The next materials are your dowel pin for the wings to spin on. The reason you have this is so that when the wings spin, they stand off from the body, and they don't. If you didn't have some kind of a spacer there, it would just clock into the body all the time. So you have this. The plans call for 3/4. I think this is 7/8 inch. I use a lot of scrap wood. I don't like going out and buying new lumber because A, it's expensive, and B, it's expensive. So my favorite, if I could find an old, somebody's throwing away a broom or a mop, I go grab the handle and saw it off real quick, and makes a great dowel for your body. Now you don't have to use a dowel. It works, but if you don't have a dowel, a lot of whirligigs, this particular one, are just made the same wood the body's made of, or even a thicker piece. They just have like a spacer piece that's nailed and glued on to the body to provide the space for the wings. So, there's no rules in whirligigs. It's whatever you like, your preference, whatever your imagination. Go wild. I love to see innovative whirligigs. This particular whirligig, I collected it down in North Carolina on the Outer Banks, and I went there way back 92, I think, 92 or 93, and the original owner, or the daughter of the original owner, was there, and they had whirligigs for sale, and she told me that this whirligig was made by the brother of baseball player Catfish Hunter, who lived nearby and made these whirligigs. And it's very simple, but it's also heavy duty. The wind blows down there all the time, and that's why the Wright brothers went down there to test fly their airplane, because it's so windy all the time. So that's another thing to consider when you're making your hubs and your axles. In this case, he used great big galvanized nails, and his hubs are 1.5 inch lumber. So this thing's heavy duty. It's just going to be spinning all the time out there in the wind. Another thing I want to point out is it's tradition in whirligig, when you have a flying wing whirligig, the tradition, and I think it makes it look better, makes it appear better when the wind's blowing, is to have the wings rotate in opposite directions. Gives it a much more visual appeal. And so here, notice if this is rotating in the same direction, that's what you're going to get right there, right? Okay, that's okay. But when it rotates in opposite directions, there's a certain effect at a certain speed when the wind's just right, and it almost looks like they're flapping up and down. I can't simulate it here, I don't have a fan. But that's why they traditionally were made to rotate in opposite directions. It was because of that effect, that flapping effect. So that's what I plan to do, and I'll show you how to make sure you don't make them fly or rotate in the same direction. We're going to go over, we'll trace out the pattern and cut it out on the bandsaw. Once I have it cut out, then we're going to drill. You have to drill the hole for the dowel, and for that hole I use a spade bit. This one is 3/4. I like to put this in the drill press. You can do it with a hand drill, but if you don't get it exactly 90 degrees, if you don't get it square to the bird body, then your dowel's going to go in there crooked, and that's going to create problems. The wing's probably going to hit the body at some point. So you want to. I use the drill press because the table's square, and make sure I get a nice square hole, square to the body, so that the dowel comes out perfectly square and true. Makes it fly better. That brings us to the hubs. Now, the hubs that some mail order catalogs sell, they're popular, they're very nice. They use 60 degrees on the blade angle. I like to use 55 degrees. You can use, everybody sets their table saw at 45 and cuts the slot. That'll work. This 60 or 65 degrees does make the wings fly very nicely. It does change the speed, although I think the speed is also a function of how long the blades are. They seem to rotate slower if they're longer. So I cut my own out, and I'll use like 55 degrees. Now here's a little trick on making sure that they rotate in opposite directions. When you have the slots cut and the hole, the axle hole, and you hold them together like this, with the holes on the same side, and then look at your slots. They should look like that. They should look like a tent, like a upside down V, whatever you want to call that. If they aren't like that, they're going to turn the same direction. Okay? So I made some big fat square, 1.5 inch square hubs. Of course, the one thing about these, you'll need a longer screw or nail axle than you would with the plans call for. Now what the mail order catalog has is they sell you this hardware. They sell you a bushing, and each one of these little pieces of brass hardware is, like $1 or $2. So you end up spending quite a bit. But if you don't use a bushing in there of some sort, over time, it doesn't take very long. If it's windy, that hole's going to wear out real big, and then the wing just flies away, and gets lost in the gutter or in the creek or in the ocean or whatever. And then you got to go back to your workshop and build a new one. So it saves you a lot of time and effort. And if you're gonna put it out and actually blow in the wind, now if you're just making something to set on your workbench shelf and show, look what I made, a whirligig, turn the fan on it every now and then, who cares? But if it's really going to be out there and sit in the weather, you know, use a bushing. So this is a number 9 brass screw, and like I think that screw's like a couple of bucks. So I've made so many over the years. I've made literally hundreds and hundreds of whirligigs, and you know, that gets expensive when you multiply $2 for the screw, $1 for the bushing, times 2 times 100. You know, it adds up. And so I've gone to, I like a 16D. This is the a nail. The nails I use, they're 16D, 3.5 inch bright common nail. 16D, 3.5 inch nail. I made a lot of wind turbine whirligigs with these. And then I have I just machined out a little bushing, a metal bushing. I put a drop of blob of grease, popsicle stick, rub a little grease on the nail, and that worked. This works really good, and with the grease on there, it'll last quite a long time. You know, brass is beautiful, but it's also pretty expensive. You want your whirligig to pivot where the wind blows. Now, unlike a mechanical whirligig where you have a propeller and a fin, a mechanical whirligig points into the wind. The wing flapping whirligigs like this one, the wind comes 90 degrees to the body. It's designed that way. So you want, that's why the where the pivot point is, there's a little bushing in there with a BB. Where the pivot point is critical for it to fly right. So you want the wind to hit it this way. So the wind would come from the side. That's the way they're designed. That's the way it works the best. So that's, you know, you have the long nose here, and the wind will blow on that nose and maybe turn it into the wind. That would be no good. So you have to think about this. And I was lucky to have these plans, and it tells exactly where to put it. And usually the pivot point is slightly in front of the wing axle. See how it's in front of it? It's here where my finger is, and the wings are forward of that. Or, I'm sorry, the wings are after that. The pivot point is forward of the wings to get it to turn. Because if it just sits there like this, the wings aren't going to turn much, if at all. So that's something to think about. So here's the drawing, and you have the dowel. I'm going a little heavier duty. There's the you can see these are old. These are the hubs right here. I made mine a little thicker than the a little fatter. And you have, notice it, you have a left hand hub and a right hand hub. That's so they rotate in opposite directions. And then the wing. Here's the wing, and here's my pattern. Okay, now I was talking about the inside in the body. You want the pivot hole, and here's the bushing for that. It's a 1/4 inch OD 5/16 ID brass tube, and then it has a BB. There's a BB in there. All these are brass so they don't rust, which is really handy. Here's the number 9 screw. with the bushing, wing axle bushing.